Hey, welcome back everyone. We are going to do a gold making guide through professions today. I had a few requests for this, so I figured why not give it a shot. Typically, I'm the type of guy that just farms materials and sells them raw on the auction house. I'm going to show you guys at the end of the video, so stick around. Some of the earnings I've gotten from very simple crafting materials such as copper, mithril, things like that. They're super easy to farm, and I'll show you guys also kind of how I basically just own the market. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the crafting portion. So what we're going to do is take a look at some Outlands recipes. This is going to be the Ice Guard Helm, and on my server it's going for about 3 million gold, so that is an insanely high price. But people apparently like it for transmog, so I said, screw it, let's dig in. I don't recommend purchasing the materials if you want to make a good profit, because the Primal Fire is going for about uh, what I think 3 to 6,000 gold for each one. Yep, there it is, 6,000 gold. And then you have the Primal Waters that are going for 500, and Corium going for an even higher rate. So let's go ahead and take a look at this adventure for the day and see if we can craft it. Alright everyone, so I have done a couple of rounds through this area, and I gotta admit it is not easy. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what I've gotten so far here. Looks like I've got 75 motes. I'm going to transform those into the primals. That's going to take about 7 primals, I think. So we're almost to where we need to be for the 12 to get the pattern done. But I want you guys to look at the map. Look how spread out all these different veins are. The biggest thing I have to point out is that this is the best way for a guarantee of at least between 1 to 2. Sometimes you get 0, but sometimes you get lucky and you get a 3 for the motes. Now, while I was doing this, I did find a really awesome spot that I didn't find whenever I was doing my research for this video to farm some of the primals. And I'm going to go ahead and take us over there right now. The reason for that is because there's only one person there whenever I was trying to farm it, and the mobs were not very far apart. So it's got some better density than places like the Throne of the Elements for the Nagrand area, or going to Netherstorm and then you're trying to fight other people for those moats. And also just the land itself. A lot of areas in the Netherstorm, they're on fire already, so you can't stand in the fire. Even at my level 117 here, I still take damage, and it's just something you just want to avoid. But if you look around here, up here at the Throne of Kil'jaeden, I think it is, this was kind of an easy farm. They're fairly close together. I can leap around, jump. I only have to mount every once in a while, so that's not too bad. And this is where you can also get it. Now, the downfall is it's not a guarantee for a moat. You get a whole bunch of those elemental fragments.
I am out of range.
And they are worth a little bit of silver, so at
I
least
must
it'll
get
cover,
closer.
some repair bills, I suppose, while you're doing the farming or whatever. It's not going to amount to anything, but it's also a good spot if you want to find an alternative to actually going around and just doing the nodes. What I'm going to do for you guys next is I'm going to show you just real briefly
I require
the
a target.
paths that I was able to find and talk for just a quick second on each zone and how I feel
I
about
must
it.
get closer.
Doing the farm today myself, and I'll admit the Hellfire Peninsula was definitely the best because it's the simplest route, but it also didn't provide me any corium veins. And if you're going to farm corium, you do need to have some of that for this pattern.
I am out of range.
So keep that in the back of your mind. We're not just looking for the primal fires here, but that is a big part of the expense, is the primal fires. So we'll go ahead and take a look at some of those other maps, and I'll bring them up for you right now. Alright, so here we are in Netherstorm, and in Netherstorm there was really not a whole lot of ore choices, lots and lots of spread out space. I do not recommend making this a farming spot for you guys if you're looking to get the most per hour, but in this area it does have at least 2 corium veins that I was able to find. It's going to be this one right here, and this one right here. So with my add-on Gathermate, it kind of keeps track of all my ores, so I can create a route and those are the two that I was able to find here in this zone. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the next zone. All right, so here we are in the Grand, and I will be honest with you guys, if you're looking for variety in your day, this is where you need to go. Plenty of mobs to kill if that's what you're into for side quests. You can always go to, uh, complete all those different side quests. They're pretty fun. But of course, my purpose here is to make gold. I want that 3 million from that Ice Guard helmet. And this is not the place you want to go if that's the case. Look at how spread out all these nodes are. We have a small little cluster in the northwestern side of the zone, but that's really about it. And we don't have any real consistency with what are we looking at on the orb consistency. It's just not there. So I don't recommend coming here if you're looking for a specific ore type. But if you're looking to just put stuff up on the auction house because you happen to be a farmer, this may be a good choice for you. I think if I'd have stayed here and farmed a little bit longer, I'd have had a few more pop up in different spots. But I did spend a good 30 to 40 minutes in here, just kind of looking around, and I'm not really impressed. Alright, so here we are in Marsh, quite possibly the worst zone yet. I will admit here we're not even going to show Blade's Edge just because of the fact that it is so much up and down, up and down, up and down. You're trying to go over them spikes and then zip back down. It's just not worth even showing. But so far in the farm here, I am getting quite a bit of primals. I'm starting to get some primal shadows and a few other things that I found. Just kind of organizing my bags up so I can keep track of what's going on, and looking at some prices of things as well so I can kind of gauge, like, in addition to this, if I have an excess of ore, how much extra gold can I start to get. But for the most part, again, it looks like we're steering more towards the Hellfire Peninsula just because of the consistency. This zone also did have 0 for the corium ore, so not a good choice there. So we're looking at Shadow Moon Valley and um, maybe the Netherstorm was probably our two best bets for the corium ores, and then going straight back into um, the Hellfire Peninsula to get our primal fires, because again you get between 1 to 2, maybe 3 of those primals. I apologize, the motes, which will, after you get 10, will turn into the primal by just getting the fel iron as a basic ore type. Alright, so let's go and take a look at a few other things. Alright, and now we've teleported over here to Tereker Forest about 45 minutes later. We have a lot more consistency with the fel iron, but again, it's still very, very spread out. Lots of mob density right around there. So while yes, I can just one-shot everything, it's still that extra second that it takes to pick up the loot that I want to get. So this is not an area that I would recommend. Mostly again because we're looking for certain types of ore and we're looking for certain types of the primals, and I'm not finding that here. I only found one corium vein in this area, and that was it. So corium is extremely rare, which again, that's going to explain its price. Alright, so here we have Shadow Moon Valley, and Shadow Moon Valley has a pretty big mix, similar to Nagrand. Not quite as diverse, but it's again very, very spread out. So I can now see why these ores are worth so much, because nobody wants to take the time to actually go out and farm this stuff. It is very, very annoying. I've spent most of the day today doing it, and I have to admit it's just not that much fun. Even kicking some music on and just kind of doing a little relaxed run, it's still just, it doesn't have that same feeling like what we're used to from vanilla or even some of the newer expansions that have come out. So this is an area I'm not going to necessarily recommend. Again, my favorite was Hellfire, talked about that earlier, and the reason for it is because I at least have consistency for those primal fires. Alright, so there was several other patterns that you guys can get from killing some mobs over here. Rage Steel Helm is one of them that you can get by killing the Anger Guards. This is going
I
to be
must get
over here in the
closer.
Blade's Edge, so here's the part of the Blade's Edge I didn't show from earlier. But it's only the one area that I saw them in. I may have to pull up some other videos and see if I can't get more information for you guys on those. But I am going to eventually try to farm those as well. And you see another warrior back there, he's probably doing the same thing. But we're gonna go ahead and just kill a couple of these mobs. We'll see if we get it. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to, but it is interesting because there's an entire set to it. Let's take a look. So it's a Rage Steel set. Okay, so it looks kind of like it's like a red set. It looks pretty cool, but you'll see there's Blaze Edge Mountain. There's a piece of it found in the Grand, a random drop in Outlands, and I said, okay, let's take a look and see what it looks like. And it's a pretty cool looking red set. I'm not a fan of the helmet, but at least the shoulders, chest, and gloves do have kind of a theme that you could have going on for those people that like the transmog. So I'm sure these are all worth quite a bit of gold as well. So that's something you can take a look at for your servers. Right, and just to wrap this video up here, one of the things I wanted to show you guys is what I also do in addition to trying to craft and also farm different materials to make some gold, and that's just buying and reselling on the auction house. This is probably one of the easiest things you can do if you already have a revenue. But if you don't have a revenue or you don't have some sort of capital to get you started, this is not what I'd recommend for your initial go-to unless you happen to get really lucky. You buy a couple of pets that you know for a fact can sell really high, and you buy them super low, and then you can resell them at sometimes 120% or more of the profit values. But all in all, no matter what you're going to do, if you're trying to make gold and you're going to use the auction house in any way, I recommend getting some kind of an actual add-on or mod to help you out with that. What I use is Auctionator. It's a pretty cool little deal here. I can see all my auctions set up. It's all organized in a nice, neat manner, and it shows from shortest to longest, from top to bottom, starting with what I've already gotten and what I've sold. Um, some of the other cool things that you can do is use your profession. So if you're a tailor, go in there and buy a bunch of the regular cloth of any type and turn it into bolts. Sometimes it's worth 5 to 10 times the amount if you just do it like that. For me, being a blacksmith and miner, and that's been my primary thing since BC, it's always about what can I craft. Like right here, we're going to take a look. 3 million gold, guys. 3 million gold. It's that simple. Go out, farm the materials, get that 100% profit. I could even go on and put that at 2 million gold and it'll probably sell immediately because somebody else is going to say, I just saved 1 million gold by buying this guy's. Let me go post it for 3. And that's totally fine because I lost nothing out of it. I still made a ton of gold. It's more than I'd ever need for any actual real purpose in the game. And then I'm going to turn around after I get my 5 million. I'm going to get my Brutosaurus, whatever dinosaur with the auctioneer. And that's just kind of my goal. But in the process, I want to try to diversify what I'm posting just in case that helm doesn't sell. So, of course, what am I going to do next, guys? I'm going to take a look at some other patterns. And these other patterns are going to be anywhere between 10 to 20 or even 30,000 gold each. Some of them are going to be simple mats. Others are going to be a little bit more complicated. Like this one here is just fell steel. That's not hard to get. I can get the fell steel pretty easy. It's just a matter of putting some time into it. But that's worth quite a bit of gold. And we just kind of move down the list of everything that you can craft. And then along the way, typically you find some other patterns that other people don't have. And then you're able to add that to your arsenal for building a revenue. Coolest thing on top of that is whenever you start raiding or getting into things, you don't have to worry about things like repair bills and flasks and enchants for all your stuff because you've got hand over fist gold that you can do whatever you want with. But anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, comment, subscribe. I'm planning on putting out a lot more of these up so that way you guys can see some of the different things that you can do with professions that I feel like has been lost over time because everything is about the newest, latest, and greatest. And that does not involve going back to the old Outlands world and farming all this fell iron and all these ores and all these primals and putting some blood, sweat, and tears into it. So definitely hit me up and we will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed.